Welcome to Elliot's PT podcast. I'm here to help you find your balance and live your best life guilt-free. I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all approach for health and fitness. We're all different and we need to find out what works for us. I'm passionate about helping people make realistic, long-term lifestyle changes that they will stick to and they will take with them forever. I don't believe in crazy diets or short-term fixes. We all need to live and find a perfect balance in diet and exercise that suits our individual needs. I want to help you find your exercise mojo, feel great and achieve wonderful things. Here is Elliot's PT podcast by Renee Elliott. Hello, and welcome back to Elliot's PT podcast. So this is one of my favorite podcasts that I've done, and it's so lovely to see how far this member has come in her progress from starting the Little Black Dress to where she is today. So Janelle was one of the first members of the Little Black Dress cycle when we started it last year. And, not only has she achieved great weight loss, but on top of that, and probably the biggest transformation that she has had is been the transformation within herself and, about her confidence and to be able to do things and not let life stop her. Now, Janelle had tried previous things, and I remember her saying at the start that when she first started that she felt that she was just broken and that nothing would ever work for her. But, months down the track, I don't know if when, 9 or so months down the track, she is still progressing, she is still working away, and she hasn't given up, and she is amazing and an inspiration to everybody. And the best thing that happened is, as she tells you through the podcast, is that, she went to the beach over Christmas or in the pool, and she didn't feel conscious. She just, had fun and had a great time with her kids, which is what what we want everybody to be able to feel good within themselves and their body. And they truly do get all that from the Little Black Dress Project. So here is my podcast with Janelle, and you will see her great transformation. All right. Hello, and welcome back to Elliot's PT podcast. So today I'm here with Janelle, who is a good friend of mine, and we here we're going to talk about. Janelle is part of the Little Black Dress Project, and she has been a founding member actually, and I just thought it would be great to get her on our podcast and talk about her experience with the Little Black Dress Project and how she finds it. So welcome, Janelle.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So you have been part of the Little Black Dress Project since our very first cycle, which is exciting and great. And how have you found being part of the Little Black Dress Project?
Well, without sounding extreme, it's changed a lot of things in my life. It was so good to find a program that doesn't just work on food or fitness, but incorporates like the meditation and mental health and makes it all personalized as well, like to issues that I had personally. So I could exercise. I didn't have to just do what they did. They were personalized exercises and food and things for that as well.
Yeah. So before you started, so I was just saying before we recorded, we were talking about what your experience was like with previous gyms and programs before you started, how you felt. I remember you saying to me, you felt like I'm sure you said like something like you felt like nothing would ever work for you.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I've done what I feel like was everything over the years. I feel like I've been overweight and unfit for most of my adult life, and really low self-esteem, which didn't help. And I've joined gyms and stuff in the past, and there was one that I loved and I really enjoyed. But after I had kids, class times and things didn't work, and I just couldn't go back. And so I just stopped, I think especially after having kids, stopped looking after myself. I just wasn't a priority. So, I'd cook meals for the kids and things like that, and I just wouldn't care about me because I was so tired. I just didn't have the energy to worry about anything else, because I work permanent night shifts as well, just to add another like spanner in there.
Another juggle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like I've lost weight, I've gained weight, I've lost fitness, I've gained fitness with so many different things, but it all just ends, I think, which is what I liked about the little black dress. So, you know, you had the 8-week challenge as such, but it wasn't just the challenge finished and then you're on your own. It was continuous.
Yeah. And so how did you, before you started the little black dress, how did you feel about yourself, and I guess about your fitness level and, you know, your weight and all of those things? How did you feel before you started?
In a word, dreadful. I just plodding along, and I just felt I had no energy, and I was just, I guess, putting on weight. You know, it's a vicious cycle. If you don't eat well, you don't have the energy to want to do anything. You know, my kids would want to go to the park and I just didn't want to. You know, I had terrible self-esteem because I just felt like I couldn't find clothes that fitted or looked nice. And yeah, it wasn't a fun place to be.
No. And how, so looking back now, so as part of the little black dress, it doesn't end. So you're always part of future cycles. How has it changed, and how do you feel now?
Look, it's changed so much. I think the big thing from the little black dress was working on mindset was a big thing. And just knowing that it doesn't have to be all or nothing, and it's finding a nice balance. Yeah. So, you know, if I wanted to go out for dinner, like I did the other day for my niece's birthday, and I had birthday cake and stuff like that, and I didn't feel guilty about it. Yeah. And I stopped when I was full, you know, instead of just going, oh, well, I've got to eat all of this because I'm not going to be able to eat it again. Like real restrictive type practices around food, which I think is what I've done in the past. So, you know, I just stop eating and then I binge, or, you know, I can't have this, I can't have that. So learning to track my macros properly, and not lie to myself about what I've actually eaten during the day, and not skipping meals and things. So I was really bad at just skipping meals, and then of course would eat more later in the day because I was starving.
And it's so common because we put ourselves last, that they mums tend to not just skip a meal, or just eat the kids along the way, whatever they've got there, just pick on their food because that's just there in front of you. Yeah. And I think you used to have a lot of guilt around eating food?
I'd just be mindlessly eating, I think, more than anything. And then, you know, I'd get to bed of a night time and just feel dreadful because I've eaten absolute rubbish, and then feel guilty that that's what I'm doing and that's what I'm showing my kids. And, you know, you'd go to sleep going, right, tomorrow's going to be better. And then, you know, you just have exactly the same cycle the next day. So, yeah, it was just, mindless, not really thinking about what I was doing or what I was fueling my body with. Yeah.
And do you think you have that guilt still?
Not as much. I still get it every now and then because I'm human.
Yes.
But, you know, I just little things, like I was just saying earlier before we were recording, you know, there was some chocolate in the house the other day, and where usually I'd be like, oh, I've got to eat it all because then it's gone and I don't have to worry about it. I just had like 4 little squares of chocolate and felt fine. Yeah. And it was just enough. And I actually thought I don't want any more because it's too sweet.
Yeah.
It's actually that enjoyable. So,
yeah. And it's so good how you were saying before as well, in that you, you know, like, because you now understand your macros and how to track them, we're putting them in MyFitnessPal. So you understand all that stuff, but you're saying that you're making sure that you're leaving, you prefer to track it in the morning and you're leaving extra in the afternoon, in the evening, just so then if you want something sweet or something, you've still got that option there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great. I think that's really good. That's the balance that we're all looking for. So then you can make that informed choice on your food, not feel guilty for it. But you've got, I think, you know, like the other day you were saying to me that, you know, you'd left enough room for wine, which you should do. Yeah. That's
very important.
It is, but it's all that balance. Because I think anything that's, you know, like when you restrict or you say you can't have it, I just think about it more.
Yes.
So I just think about it more. So I'm always got to not make sure that I can, I need to have the foods I enjoy as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what made you join the Little Black Dress project? Oh, we've cut out. Oh.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's all right. There we go.
I got a phone call.
Oh, damn it.
I'd been following you on Facebook for a long time. Like, gosh, how many years ago did we go away?
Yeah, so me and Janelle met, we were traveling. So we actually met. So Janelle lives in Tasmania. I live in Queensland. So if people don't know, that's quite far away from each other. But we actually met in London. We went to Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got like from when you had hippie hoops and all of those things way back. And I just sort of started seeing posts about the little black dress and things like that. And I thought, I was just at that point where I'd hit the point where I was ready to try something else, let's have a crack at something else. And I think I just commented on there and said, can I do it virtually? Because obviously I can't come to classes with you. And so it just went from there. And I think the biggest thing was, obviously you've got a startup cost and things like that, but it was the fact that it wasn't just that cost for 8 weeks and then you pay it again and everything else. It was, you've got the lifetime access and the constant checking in. So even when I'm hiding from you, which I've done,
don't worry, everyone does.
How are you doing? What are you doing? What's changing and how can I help? Or, if I've had a bad week, it's really nice because you're like, right, I'm going to call you now and we're going to go through the wins this week, not just focus on the things that I focus on, which I feel like are things I haven't done well. It's more pulling out the things I have done well. So
yeah.
I
think as well, sometimes I think big things for you is sometimes you've felt like, like sometimes you've got results and you felt like they weren't good enough. And then I'm like, no, that's amazing. like I think like it's, you've been able to see it from a different perspective where you thought maybe your results weren't what you thought they should be or something like that, when actually, when we really look at it and look at all the aspects of it, you're actually coming really far. Yeah.
And it's not just concentrating on just a number on the scales or something like that, which I think is a big thing for me, for my size. I've always concentrated on a number rather than
everything else.
Everything else.
Yeah.
So, my clothes are fitting better and, things like that.
Yeah. So Han, obviously living in Tasmania, you can do the classes virtually, you can do them via the app, but how do you feel like as being part of the group? Like, do you feel like you're not part of the group? Do you feel left out? Like I feel like it doesn't matter where you are, you're still part of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I can't wait for the next round to start because I've missed all the posts on Facebook and I love when people share their recipes and things like that for different things and seeing how well everybody else is doing as well and their changes and things. So that's
the group's really good, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess because I don't get that face-to-face thing in class time to get to know them. That's my contact as such.
Yeah. And I think as well, like you are amazing. Like you do the lives on your phone driving to work, you still really make it work, and that's someone that's committed. And, but yeah, I think as well, having the group, you don't feel, like sometimes you'd be like, oh, I had a rough night last night and but I still did this morning, and you get support from everyone else.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think you've had lots of massive wins since starting, but what do you think? So one of the things I think is that just over Christmas, I think it was Christmas, and when I said going out with your kids, you did activities that you normally wouldn't do.
Yeah. So just over the summer holidays and stuff, I went to like a local water slide with the kids and things, and like, whereas once upon a time I'd be like, oh, you guys go down, I won't do it. I thought, oh, screw it, and had an absolute blast, had really fun. And the kids loved it too, because mum's going down the water slide. And I just did not care what anybody else there thought. I was fun. I was having a great time with my kids. I wore bathers in public.
Good.
Yeah, just things that I would never have done. Even when I was smaller than I am now, I would never have done it. But that's where it comes back to that mindset part of things as well. Yeah. Which has been the biggest win out of everything, I think, is just your
kids will remember that. They don't care what size you are. They don't care what size clothes you wear. Or, they care that mum spends time with them. That's what they remember.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you know, a couple of years ago, we took the kids to a fair and they were dodging cars. I was like, oh, no, I'm not getting in them. I won't fit, you know. And this year we went and I was like, oh, screw it. Let's have a crack.
Love it. So good. That's so massive, because that you know, changes the things you do with your kids, and to have a confidence to do those things is so good, especially when you've shied away from it. The other thing that I think has really come, so when you first started, you're worried about exercise because of your pelvic floor, and you have had problem, you know, which is really common with women. It's something people don't talk about. It's really common after babies, and you were scared to exercise because of that. So how has that changed for you?
I can run a little bit now and I don't wet my pants, which is amazing. I can cough and I can laugh. Just little things that, you know, I thought I was doing pelvic floor exercises and I thought I was working on my core, but I wasn't. But yeah, just the exercises that you provided for me and really concentrated, I think, on going slow and doing them well instead of just trying to get as many reps as possible, you know, to pull up that heart rate and stuff like that, getting things right. And, you know, I can do squats. I remember being at the gym, you know, after I had Ava, before I had Rose, and, you know, just doing air squats and just feeling leakage from my pelvic floor and just thinking, oh my goodness, how terrible is this? You know, I couldn't run. I couldn't do any of the runs, but you know, I started the couch to 5Ks a couple of months ago. It's gone by the wayside post-COVID because I didn't have the lung capacity and stuff. But yeah, I was running with that and had no issues. So, which was just huge. The
saddest thing is that mums think that it's just something they have to accept. Like they have to accept that they wet themselves because they've had kids, but it can all be changed and fixed. And, you know, you don't have to have that feeling.
Yeah, because if you'd have asked me 18 months ago, I'd be like, oh, it is what it is. You know, I'm stuck with it.
Because I think you've seen
I can't fix it.
Hadn't you seen people and they just,
gave me general sort of exercises and I was just like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. And then I'd forget to do them. But yeah, I remember quite often now just even to do them while I'm driving and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so good. And so a lot of, because of where you are, you do a lot of things via the app, which we were just talking about before. So how do you find the app helps you?
It reminds me. Like it gives me that trigger to go, oh, I need to do that. And it's not just for exercises, which I would like as well. It's like, oh, here's your meditation tonight. Like, do this. And I quite like doing the meditations as I'm going to bed because it just calms my mind and I sleep really well after it. And it's just like, okay.
Before?
Sorry?
Did you meditate before?
No, not consistently. No.
Yeah, no.
So that, and just, you know, the positive affirmations that come through on it and just the little things with the app, all those little extras. It's not just, here's your class time, go and do it. It's all the other bits and pieces that come with it, the journaling, which it's a work in progress, but I do think of the questions even if I don't write them down.
But the good thing is because you get to do more cycles. Sometimes, like there was one person that they were sick and they only focused on the journaling, and she was like, she couldn't believe how far she came because she realized all these different things about herself from the journal questions. Another big win I think you have is about the guilt, which we spoke about before, that you don't really have that. And before we recorded again, we were talking about how you're at work and you were thinking about your food and you made a different choice with food. And, so how did you find that?
Yeah, so that was really good. So I work nights. So I work from 9:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. So my body clock's all over the shop, you know, food's all over the shop. But I was prepped. I had it all packed in a lunch bag and everything else, and then went to work without it. Great. Oh, that's all right. I won't have anything to eat tonight. It'll be fine because, you know, I wouldn't usually eat overnight anyway. But it was busy, and so obviously I'm using energy, so needed something. And I thought, I didn't really feel like toast because that's the only option that's provided.
Yeah.
So I just thought, oh, screw it. I'll just go and get a Kit Kat out of the vending machine. It'll be fine. I can track it. I'll make it work. And I got there and I just thought, I really don't want that. And there was a bag of crisps there. And I've said before, I can't even remember what brand they were, but they're one of the healthier options, I guess you would say. And piranha chips they are.
Oh, yeah. I never.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, but they were, I think, about 240 calories or something for the entire bag. Yeah. And it was a decent sized bag. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to enjoy that more. It's going to fill me up because it's obviously more than a Kit Kat. It would be, I don't know the calorie comparison. But I was really happy with that choice. And they lasted for ages.
Yeah.
So I still had a treat as such, I guess, because it wouldn't be something that I'd eat all the time. But I certainly mid a better choice with the options that I had at the time.
And that's the best. That's the best thing to do. Yeah. Because that's life.
Yeah, that's it. And just making that mindful choice. We were talking before about I used to do a lot of mindless eating. So just eat without thinking, and looking back, I'd have no concept of what I'd actually eaten that day or enjoyed. But I really enjoyed the chips, and they lasted ages because they just kind of sat there, and I grabbed them when I went back out to the tea room and had a chance to have a bite. So
I think when you first, I'm just remembering that when you first started, you were, because you're a nurse, so there's lots of treats in your tea room, that you said that you were becoming more mindful of not just taking that food, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah. But now almost that one step further, that I'm just like, oh, I'm happy just, if there's something there, I can just have one. I don't need to gorge because I'm never going to be allowed to eat it again.
Yeah. And that's a cool place to be in, because that's a really good place to be in. Yeah. So what would you say for anybody who's maybe thinking about joining the Little Black Dress, who maybe feels hesitant? What would you say to anybody that feels like that way?
Honestly, if I can make the commitment and do it, you can too. Because everyone's busy. I get that. But just with the shifts I work, I work one night, I sleep the next day, I've got kids with their own activities. And I just don't prioritize myself at all. But I had to do this for me. And by looking after me, everybody says it. You don't pour from an empty cup and all of that. And that's so true. So I'm doing it from Tasmania. I'm doing it all virtually. I've not seen you in person for 10 years. But I don't feel alone at all. So, I even to look at it when I first joined, obviously there's a joining fee, and I was just like, oh, do I need to spend that money? I could buy something else for the kids. And I just thought, you know what, it's one-off, and let's just do it. And it was the best decision I've made for myself, and my mental health, I think, is the biggest thing that has improved with it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. And I'm really excited to see what this year brings, because you're on a really good momentum. And I think you are doing amazing. And I think you're going to keep smashing your goals. I'm really excited. So,
I can't wait.
So thank you so much for joining me. And I know that you would have inspired lots of people, because you are inspiring, and you've come so far.
Thank you.
Now, if you would like to be part of the Little Black Dress project, all you need to do is make sure that you go to our website and follow the prompts and join the waiting list, so you can be the first to know when the next cycle of the Little Black Dress project opens. The Little Black Dress project is starting on the 18th of June 2022. So if you are listening to this before that day, make sure that you jump straight on to the website and put your name on the waiting list, so you will be the first to know when the Little Black Dress project opens. There is only 15 spaces for this round, so make sure you jump on there quick.